PMPradio.net, man. Welcome to the first episode of the Newsroom. This week in news, man, I want to give a major shout out to our contributors to the show, Freddie, Lynn, and Kira, man. Listen, they coming up with the news stories, and I'm telling them, right? So we're recapping from Monday all the way to Friday. Looking for more help, right? If you want to be a part of the newsroom, if you want to send us your stories, if you want to come up here and do the newsroom, I don't have to be in this seat. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I don't have to be in this seat. This seat could be anybody if you have the time, right? Friday from 12. It's not a long show. It's about, I'd say 15 minutes, right? Come through and talk about the news as you see it, right? We have a couple different stories we're going to touch on today, but I just want to let people know, right? This is not a seat for me. This is a seat for whoever wants to come through here and sit here and give the news to the people. So we're going to start with our first news story. On Monday, a judge in Philadelphia cleared a man named Charles Rice, a.k.a. C.J. Rice, of attempted murder after having spent 12 years in prison. Rice is from Philadelphia, was wrongly convicted of attempted murder after being near a shooting from 2011, but was recently cleared of all charges after years of effort to reverse the decision. Charles Rice was set to serve a 30 to 60-year prison stint, but has recently been released and said to reporters at CNN that the air tastes sweeter, the sun shines different. That's a different warmth. Court officials said in the recent hearing of the case that there was little and false evidence against Rice and that the prosecution did not have enough proof. This is just one example of how the justice system often fails the people it's meant to protect. An innocent man lost over 12 years of his life due to the failings of the system. How can this be avoided moving forward? How can we take precedence in a system that doesn't take precedence in us? Again, in my community, I feel as though we need to speak out. We don't need to be quiet. We don't need to be humble. We need to speak out. So there are different people in the community that are speaking out against the way the system was created, the way the system handles us, right? It doesn't handle everybody the same, the way it handles us, the way it treats us. So if you know these people, hit them up, help them out. Shout out to Andre. Day one, not day two. On Tuesday, we had a groundbreaking down at Memorial Park for a pond. It's crazy, right? A pond. Anyway, Chester Memorial Park is set to begin a new $9.9 million stormwater project by the Stormwater Authority to build a pond to help with flooding. But many people consider it an unnecessary use of the money and not the best way to address the problem. Now, anybody that's ever lived down by Memorial Park, be it the Banneker, be it Ingle Street, Jeffrey Street, wherever, it wasn't always like this. So how do we get to the rain now just accumulating? I remember it used to flood down there. I'm not going to say it wasn't always like that. It used to flood down there all the time, right? But, why now a pond? Can you fish in this pond? Will it be fish in there? Will they have? Anyway, let's get back to the story. The project was proposed without much community input and is receiving a lot of backlash, primarily from Mayor Stefan Roots and Circle Chair Zulene Mayfield. Stefan Roots said the pond is not the right solution to the flooding issue, especially because the authority cut down many of the trees that soak up water from floods, making the problem worse just to fix it. Roots wants to see some of the money used for the park in ways that can truly benefit and serve the community, like a skate park, like roller skating, something that people really want. Zulene Mayfield calls it an unnecessary evil and thinks much simpler solutions could be used. she is also worried about the cleanliness of the water and how it could avoid being polluted with trash. Even more, Zulene believes the Stormwater Authority does not act in the interest of the community and thinks it's unfair to be taxed to fund an organization not truly for the residents of the city. The project is proposed to address flooding and beautifying the park with paved entryways and benches, a gazebo, an elevated boardwalk, and a stone walking trail with lighting. Do you believe this is what Memorial Park, our community, deserves? A pond. Now, I say if they're going to put fish in there, fresh fish, and they're going to make sure it's well lit so no one can go up and throw their couches and trash and, you know, the way we dump trash, if we can make sure that remains cool, right, then everything else should be fine. But there's the hazard, right? In making sure things are safe, are we eliminating people being able to participate or be activated by the space, right? So let us know, right? If you believe that this is what Chester Memorial Park needs, or if you feel like this is $9.9 million of spending is going out the window, right? Then on Wednesday, right, they have this poll where they do the world's happiest place, right? The official World's Happiness Report came out on Wednesday, and the United States was left out of the world's 20 happiest countries, coming in 23rd place. How can America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, be left out of the world's happiest places? Why is America not happy? Anyway, the drop is mostly attributed to young people under 30 and their dissatisfaction with the state of the country. Some professors believe the intense restrictions from COVID are a significant factor, but others believe social media to be the leading reason with the negative news consumption. One author says that in the United States, we have an expectation that we should all be happy. But when someone ends up not being happy, it's made worse by the idea that we think we should all be happy. What do you think about this? Why do you think the U.S. is falling in the rankings? And why aren't the young people overall happy? Why aren't they happy here in the United States? I said there's tons of reasons you cannot be happy, right? You know, we got an election that's a repeat of the last election, and it doesn't look like anyone in either the party has the balls to stand up and say what's right and what's wrong. Everybody's sitting and waiting, right? We're going to get into what Biden is doing. We know what Trump has done. We know what he has given. We know how he's running it, how he's helped the black community, which I don't think he has. I don't think any president really focuses on helping the black community, because the black community is what keeps the machine going. We give the bodies, we give the money, we spend the most, right? So, yeah, we'll check that out, right? Then on Thursday, right, President Biden is big on. He wants to increase the funding for affordable housing. After economists in the White House are calling for more federal support, the proposed plan is intended to reduce costs and pressure cities to relax zoning restrictions that often lead to a reduction in affordable housing construction projects. Wow. It is a complicated process, and a lot of policy regulations in different sectors need to be considered in order to make a change. Biden is hoping to accomplish positive affordable housing policy in a last push to create meaningful change before the election this upcoming fall. This election season, man, election season is crazy, right? There's tons of news out here, you know, whether it's true, whether it's false. Anyway, they're pushing election season. You know how I feel. Community, I feel like black people need to vote. We need to know the power in voting. We need to understand the power in voting. We need to understand that there are many of us throughout the states that if we just came together and picked a campaign manager or a person or a pact, right? And we believe that these are the things that we needed fixed, and if those people didn't want to do it or didn't speak to those things, we don't vote for them. It's easy, right? You can see, like, you can pay attention and see how things are moving out of fear, right? So anyway, that's the news for today. See, it was real quick. I told you it wouldn't be long. Listen, if you can contribute to the news, if you feel as though you want to be up here doing the news, I'm for it, right? We're trying to put this newsroom together, right? We came up with stories Monday through Thursday. Friday, not too much. I know everything that's going on with Meek Mills. If someone wants to talk about those types of stories, it really does. I just want the conversation to move forward, right? And sometimes you got to do the work to get the conversation to move forward. So this was the newsroom, right? CMP News with Uncle P. It could be CMP News with whoever. You could be CMP News with Uncle P, and this is my co-host or whatever. We could do it because we need to talk about what's affecting our livelihood and our communities, not just Chester, but countrywide, right? Worldwide, nationally, right? So anyway, it's Uncle P. I want to tell y'all, be safe, and if y'all like my music, give me a shout out, right?